Hello all and welcome to Tuesday Q&A. I'm your host Roland. Sitting to the left or right of me, depending on perspective, is my expert Ursinity. Ursinity, hello, how are you?
I'm grand. I'm prepared for the show. I think I said grand last week. I'm very well.
No, you said something you'd never said, and last week was 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
been a while,
2 weeks.
Maybe. Yeah, we missed 2
Months.
weeks. We missed 2 weeks.
Well, no.
We didn't do last week.
Only write-ins.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we haven't been live on stream. You did something like I am cantankerous or some shit like
Exuberant?
Exuberant. That's right.
Is that the word?
Yeah, I think that's what you said. Anyway,
I'm not cantankerous, all right? That's rude.
Yeah, I think we can let people decide. I think cantankerous is a pretty good adjective. How are you? Like, more specifically, last week, you said you had a great weekend, yada, da, da, da. What was that about?
Yeah. I had friends come in into the New York City, so I spent the weekend in the city, which, as is well documented, I'm not a city person, but I had a great time, ate a lot of good food, so I'm, like, all prepared and ready
Get really drunk?
to, like, podcast. I did do that, yes, also.
Yeah.
But it was on soju, so it was, like...
What the...
It was, like, fancy.
What is soju? It's
a Korean liquor.
Korean liquor.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Like a bunch of sugar?
No. It's fairly strong. Like it's like a good middle ground between like drinking like a low percentage drink like a beer or something, or a very high percentage drink like straight alcohol. But it's a good middle ground. And it's just a very pleasant drink. Like it's just great. I don't know how to describe it.
Like a middle ground between like Kool-Aid and Mike's Hard Lemonade, like somewhere in between there. Like
it's like 18% alcohol
not too much,
or something.
Not too little. Oh wow. Okay.
No, it's like 18% alcohol, and you drink it straight, and it's just very like refreshing. It has a nice alcohol bite, but it's not like it's not weak, but it's not super overpowering and strong. It's just a very pleasant drink. So that happened, but yeah, and we ate a lot of good food. And yeah, so that was
what are these friends about? Who are these friends? They came in. So like, where are they from?
Leafy Peachy.
Really?
She came in. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're friends. And then
like
some other
friends
Dota
to that
friends
to that degree, though, huh? Like friends like flying in and like.
Well, she didn't fly in to see me. She flew in to see everybody.
Who's
New York City, like lots of people that live in New York City. I'm not gonna name all my friends. You guys to hunt them down.
Are they DotP people?
Regular. They're Dota people, but not necessarily .p people.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have like a secret life?
It's not a secret life. I just have different friends.
I don't really appreciate that, if I'm being honest.
Life is full of struggle, dude. Get over it.
I'd like some transparency.
I don't have an answer for
you. Between your personal life and your Dota life. Okay. Cool.
All right. How was your week been, Roland? Or 2 weeks
good.
since you didn't podcast with me last week, and I don't care what you said about your week to other people.
Nobody asked, so thank you for asking. It's been good.
I'll point out that I asked about double the period of time in your life, and you just asked about 1 week for me. But well, anyway, continue.
Let's see. Fucking fix sprinklers all weekend.
Cool. Yeah, we're doing a lot of yard work in my house too, so I feel your pain.
It's literal pain. Like we had these old chairs that were like metal chairs, and I was like bending them with like I was standing on it to bend them, and it just like swung back and hit me in my thigh, and it looks like I got like blasted by like a beanbag gun or something like that. Like my whole thigh is like black and blue, and it's like when my legs rub together.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it was. Doing sprinkler work is awful at all. We're on like 3/4 acre or something like that, or where you have a big lot, because in Utah, like you own a lot of land because
is just free.
You've got to accommodate all your wives. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and you got to farm, and you have all those kids, and they can deal with the farm.
Yeah, they're just not old enough yet, so I have to do the work right now, which is bullshit. But yeah. So every sprinkler head's broken, and there's like 15 of them. and it sucks. It just sucks. You just dig.
Yeah, I don't have sprinklers.
You just dig
So
down, and then just like, and you're just like, oh, there's dirt in it, and then you just like clear it out, and you have to fucking torch it so that you can like get it malleable enough. It's horrible.
Yeah,
We
it
do
sounds
not need to
awful. I'm not gonna
continue.
lie to you. Man, this is gonna be like some kind of weird yard work podcast, but it's not Thursday, so we can't do that. But in my house, we have tons of shrubs surrounding my yards, and we are taking them out because they're such a hassle to take care of, and putting privacy trees in instead, because privacy trees are really easy to take care of. And so we had to rip out all this crazy huge shrubbery that's like absurdly difficult to do. So we've been like sawing at things for like weeks. It's such a process. And yeah, oh god, terrible.
I'd say. Yeah, so but
I'm a Dota player, not a yard worker.
the thing that I get to look forward to is I get to rent a bobcat next weekend. For anybody who doesn't know what a bobcat is, it's a miniature backhoe.
It's a mountain lion.
No, it's a miniature backhoe. They're called bobcats.
So
I get to rent a motherfucking tractor or whatever. It's not a tractor. I was told
it's not a tractor.
It's a backhoe, and I get to drive it and dig up a bunch of dirt because we're making our driveway like 10 feet longer, and then we're putting in like a pergola and then a gazebo.
Oh wow, fancy.
Yes, as I have my white wine.
Yeah,
1779. You know, like no. It's just
expensive wine.
Every single year we do some sort of project. The shed, this studio was one summer project where it was just this nasty old shed that I turned into a less nasty old shed that I'm now sitting in right now, where it's completely green. And I know that all my neighbors think that I'm doing completely green things out here. Definitely, especially when I was running like bigger power lines. They're all like, "Why does he need more power out there?" You know, and I have the windows blocked out too. I boarded up all the windows, so it's like,
yeah,
what and why? Why is
windows to your drug then?
Yeah, well, I think they think I'm growing pot.
Yeah,
which I can't wait until like
the police get called and they're like,
yeah, they come in and I'm just like, God damn it, pause, guys, what? And they're like, we heard this was a grow op, and it's like, yeah, podcast grow op, get out of here. You know,
you're waiting to use that line, aren't you?
No, actually, that just came to my mind because I'm witty and quick.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you're waiting to use that now for when the inevitably.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I'll be like, I get you were searching for green though, weren't you? And you definitely found it because everything is green in here. You know what I mean? Like green.
Oh,
green,
that's
green,
fair.
Green. Yeah, because I painted every wall green. So there's definitely a lot of green going on in this shed. It's just not the type that you would ingest. Anyway, we have questions. We have people who want to talk to us. I'm excited to talk to them, seeing as it has been so long since we have done this. Let's go ahead and take our first caller. The name is Boomashak. The MMR is a lot more than mine, being 4,234. Boomashak, what is your question?
Howdy, guys. How's it going?
Well, thank you.
Saying hello from Salt Lake City as well.
Whoa! Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, you emailed. Yeah, hey. We could almost high five right now. How you doing?
Seriously, I've been waiting for the chance to talk to you in real life.
Cool. Well, this is real life. Hi.
It is great. It's everything I hoped it would be.
Awesome.
My question, it was basically about the core to support ratio kind of changes, and it's never really in a pub game. It's never really decided outside of just people that are willing to sacrifice themselves into the support role. So I'm just kind of wondering, as of right now, what is kind of your guys' opinion on what the best ratio is, as far as like 4 core 1 support, 3 core 2 support, even 2 core 3 support?
Interesting question. Ursi?
I would say, I mean, it'd be fun to say like an interesting answer and be like, oh man, like there's this new meta change. It's 4 core 1 support. But really, the ideal is still the basic, 3 cores, 1 roaming support, 1 generic safe lane support and or stacking support. Nowadays, since there is more gold on the map, you do kind of, in many games, have that transitionary thing where you have 4 cores eventually, because your roamer, if they're successful at roaming, does get so much money off the map and off of kills, hopefully, that they can transition to being a 4th core. Your Spirit Breaker that gets a Midas at 12 minutes, and then by 30 minutes, he's like effectively a full core, right? So I would still say it is, 3 cores, 2 supports, 1 core hopefully transitions in, or excuse me, 1 support hopefully transitions into a core eventually. But and yeah, it can change a little for pubs, right? Like, Roland, I mean, you're getting serious again at climbing MMR, right? As I've heard.
I just kind of said that today.
You did say that today, and I'm holding you to it. I'm asking.
I'm going to get serious.
I
haven't had a lot of time.
Motivation.
Right? No, not motivation. I have plenty of motivation. I've only played like 2 games since I made that, like,
too many sprinklers.
That declaration.
Down your time.
And 1 game I lost, and the other game I lost. So, but that's okay. That's not about being serious. But what I would say on this regard is, yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you guys are both way better than me at Dota. But from what I see in successful games of Dota 2 is, like, you've got your hard 5 that's not going to transition very well, like a Shadow Shaman. Like a Shadow Shaman's never going to be like, it's okay, guys, I'm 6 slotted, we got this. Unless it's like Boots of Travel, Refresher Orb, Ags, or something like that, and he does some
Octarine, Refresher, Ags, Blink.
Yeah, like some ratty shit. But like Night Stalker can definitely become a huge threat. Bloodseeker, I guess you could call, like, no. Vengeful Spirit, Denny and I were just talking about this last night, where it's like, what transitions? Like, okay, Lena, Vengeful, and we found a couple other examples. But yeah, I do agree that having 1 static, like, I am a 5, that is my goal, is to, like Proudland, like Proudland, like Proud was saying on Proudland, basically you need a 5 to mitigate the 1, basically, like you trade a 5 for a 1, and then have hopefully your 4 come in and do some good shit. The ratio, though, is usually 4 core, 1 support, and 1 core gets less than the other 3. Is what I usually see. It's like 4 core where we have like an off lane where it's like Clockwork Spirit Breaker or something like that, and they both deem themselves 3s. And then we have, I don't know, a Crystal Maiden as a 5, and then a mid and a safe lane. And then it's just kind of like whatever 3 does better becomes the actual 3, and whichever one does worse becomes the actual 4.
So, yeah, and that can work in some pubs, especially like at lower MMRs when things are less coordinated. That's not a bad. It's not objectively bad. Like, it is. It will work. I was all excited, Boomashok, because at the beginning of this question, you're like, all right, I want to learn about support ratios to core ratios. I thought you were talking about our individual ones. Because, like, on Dota Buff, it says your ratios of, like, how many games you play as support in various kinds of lobbies versus how many games you play as core in various lobbies. But
couldn't we, like, turn it to that?
That's my secondary question.
Yeah. Oh, sick. God bless America.
I thought that's what he said.
Or Utah, I guess.
Yeah. What's yours?
Okay, I'll start then. All right.
Okay.
So let's see. Can I make it only solo queue? In ranked, my average overall is 54% support, 46% core.
Wow.
But most of these core games are in party queue. Almost exclusively core games are in party queue. Let me find this one sec. It's 64% support in solo queue, including international ranked, and I only play core in international ranked, basically. So my ratios are probably something like 70 or 70-ish% support, and then 25 to 30% core in ranked matchmaking. And then since I play a ton of unranked, and unranked I usually am the highest MMR player, so I play core usually.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine you're probably the highest MMR in any game.
I'm only 65% core in my overall unranked, though, so it's still not overwhelming. Like, I still play a lot of support in unranked. What are your ratios, Roland?
65-35. 65% core, 35% support.
Yeah, and that's for both. I mean, you only play ranked, right? So it's only really applicable.
I only play solo ranked, so it's like, I mean, there are obviously party exceptions, but yeah. The 30, like, it used to be more like yours when I first started my account, where I was like climbing with Lich, I was climbing with Vengeful Spirit and those types. And so I was more like I was a 60-40 support for a while, like 60% support. And then my downward, it's still just like really fast going down, is core. And I think it's because I'm good at killing shit, but I'm not good at fighting people. Like, I'm really, really good at killing creeps and getting gold and progressing in that fashion. But when it comes to like, I'm gonna take this fight and I'm gonna do it in a smart way, I never do. I never do. I can't. I don't know how to play the heroes, but I know how to farm with them. I feel like that is my literal issue.
Yeah, it's definitely your issue.
What about you,
I'm not gonna lie
Boomshot?
to you.
What's yours? What's your
Yeah, I'm about
percent?
70-30 to core to support. Kind of what I was wondering also in conjunction with that is if you are trying like your super try hard mode and you're doing ranking, trying to climb your MMR, trying to get 5K, 6K, whatever, do you usually go with the focus of I'm going to pick right off the bat or relatively early in the draft the hero that I'm really good with? Or do you wait and just kind of pick the fourth or fifth to go with what the team needs? Because whenever I solo queue, it's always everybody spam picks. I got mid, I got safe lane, I got off lane.
Well, I'll say, I mean, specifically applicable to you since you're in the low to mid 4Ks right now. Yeah, 42, 34. Yeah, when I was climbing through 4K, I just first pick support every game, unless almost every game actually. Very rarely would I not, unless people were already indicating that they were going to first pick supports. So I climbed, a lot of my support was just I first picked Rubik. If nobody's going to pick anything, I was like, all right, I could pick Rubik. I did a lot of it, especially right around that like 42 to 45, 46. I just first picked Winter Wyvern, which I think I'm going to start doing again because she's gotten a lot of buffs. So I would first pick that, but you can wait. I don't know. I find that if I don't take the initiative, nobody will, and then we're just going to lose gold. So I'm comfortable playing support. If I'm the highest MMR nowadays, because like once you get into like the higher 4K and then into 5K plus, you get a lot more weird games where the average is like 4,300, and then I'm kind of forced to play a carry, in which case, or a mid, in which case I would wait. But even then, you can first pick some generic non-countered mid, like whatever, like an Invoker, right? It's like, all right, they pick Nyx. All right, I'm sad, whatever. Like, they can only do so much against certain mids that are pretty basic picks. So, in general, if you're a core, you want to wait. If you're a support, sure, whatever, pick first.
Well, Boomashak, we should go get like some food and talk about Dota or something because we live in the same state and it feels like semi-obligatory that we do that. So,
Got a Salt Lake meetup.
Yeah,
I work in Sandy every day.
Dude, what, like 90th South?
Exactly. That Xfinity store on the side of the road. That's me.
Nah. Maybe that's where I'm gonna go to complain about my shitty Xfinity, but I won't to you because you seem like a good guy, and it seems like Xfinity's awesome. Hey, thank you for sponsoring Xi, and right? Isn't it like Xi.Xfinity? I see that all the time. Do you know that? Do you know Boomshock? Isn't Xi sponsored by Xfinity?
I know Evil Geniuses, as far as like their internet is, as of a couple of years ago. Like,
nice.
They use Xfinity internet.
So do I.
I didn't even know what Xfinity was. I was like, is this
Xfinity?
cars? Is this internet?
It's like cable,
ISP,
cable
Good
internet.
times, Ursi.
Yeah,
I'm out with the Utah times, dude. You guys are literally in a different time zone.
No,
we own CBS.
Yeah, Comcast is humongo. It's like, but you only care about South Korea anyway, so you wouldn't know.
My god, I have Optimum. All right, I'm sorry.
Hey, Boomershock, can't wait to meet you. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for your question.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
You too.
Yep, you too.
All right, let's do some reading with your mouth, Ursi. Reading with your mouth.
My mouth, yes.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing the reading with my mouth for clarification.
Yes, read with your mouth, please.
First question from Jeed. I have a couple things. The first of which is a Q&A question. Who, in your opinion, is the most do-nothing hero in the game and why? We're going to answer this before I read the second question.
Okay.
In my opinion, the most do-nothing hero in the game is... Oh, boy, there's so many that I could possibly say. Probably Lich. Lich? No, man. Lich is definitely up there. The top 3 are Lich, Undying, and Necrophos. Necrophos is definitely number 1, though. Now that I think about it,
I just hate him.
Necrophos.
I mean, I guess I could call him do nothing, but he does.
Well, I mean, I hate
he
it's
does
both. Or
too
can be
much.
true, right?
God, that's tough. I feel like Arc Warden is the most do nothing hero in the game. From like the
Okay.
way I perceive do nothing.
I disagree with this.
I know you disagree
but-
because he can like evasion shield, slow and hurt, spark wraith, duplicate, so we can do those things again. But I'm just saying like that hero does nothing right now. Okay.
I
know
feel
it's
like people ask us these questions just so that it makes people mad
uh-huh.
that are listening.
Yeah.
Right? Because it just
For sure.
reignites a stupid argument
Of the do nothing hero. Yeah.
by the
for sure.
nomenclature of doing here. But that being said,
But
I will say
literally,
Necrophos.
Arc Warden is like never picked, and so he's literally doing nothing. And I never see him in my pubs, so he's doing nothing. So I'm
I mean,
gonna take
Chen
it.
is never picked, but Chen does something.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say Arc Warden is the hero that is
I-
doing nothing right now because he's probably not even in a game of Dota, and there's probably like 500,000 games of Dota happening right now.
Man,
And
somewhere
he's probably
Grouty's
not even
crying.
in one. Well, Grouty has to be, a special little flower, which is why he picks Arc Warden. And
Yeah,
still
as a
is
disclaimer, I will.
Is he good?
I will say Arc Warden is not a do nothing hero.
Well,
Say, is he dead?
it
No,
depends.
Grouty's not dead. Grouty's fine. I like Grouty.
Yeah, no, I wasn't asking if Grouty was dead. I was asking, is he good at Arc
Oh,
Warden?
yeah, he's good at Arc Warden. Yes.
Cool. All right, let's keep reading.
Okay. The second of which is a suggestion. I'm not sure if this is something you guys may want to do, but I thought the .p Classic was great. If it's not too much extra work, I feel like you guys could release old episodes on Sundays to increase viewership / listenership. I don't have very large knowledge as to how much
Are
work
you
that
even
takes
reading?
to do.
Are you
I'm
even
trying. All right.
Again, I don't have a very
but
large
maybe it's
depth
worth
of
it.
knowledge as to how much work that takes to
I'm
do.
trying to read quickly.
But maybe it's worth it. Either way, keep up the good work. Jeed. So yeah, I thought it was really cool to re-release because last week for Tuesday Q&A we re-released the first time LD ever came on the show.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because it sounded old because it was. I mean, it was 2 years old, and the topics we were talking about were like old because they were, and it was really interesting to be like, I didn't know that. Maybe a lot of people didn't even know that we've had LD on and that we've known him for years. So that type thing is interesting, I guess. And then there are some episodes that don't even involve guests that are just some of my favorites, like the Christmas episode where I was called Cindy Lou Who. I can't even remember the context, but it was a hilarious episode.
That's how the Grinch stole Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Christmas episode. It aired on, I think it aired on Christmas of 2014. But
okay.
Yeah, it was our first Christmas episode. We recorded it on Christmas Eve and it was released on Christmas Day. Every Christmas we've released an episode because I don't think a Christmas has fallen on a Saturday or Sunday in the past 3 years. I'd have to look. So
I wouldn't know.
Oh no, this last Christmas was on a Sunday. But before that, I know this is a waste of time.
I don't think we know what last.
It was on a Friday. So yeah, we released the show on a Friday, the 15th. Yeah, December 15th. So Anyway, let's take our next caller.
Also, to answer his question, no, we're pretty happy with putting out all our episodes. We only do re-releases for days that we miss on rare occasion like that. I don't think we want to consistently re-releasing old episodes.
I don't know. I disagree. I don't know.
I don't.
I think it's cool to get a look back on where we were. There are people that are die hard to the point where they want to catch up to where we are now. And there's one person in particular that's like still in
Cody.
No, not him. It's Chris Moore. She's in like 2015 still, and so she doesn't even know that like Audrey's pregnant.
She's gaining a lot of irrelevant information about Dota 2. That has completely changed.
She's kind of following it from like a social perspective, and she does stuff like that. But she doesn't even know that like my wife got pregnant, had a baby, and now the baby's 6 months old. You know what I mean? It's like it's a weird world we live in. Anyway, our next caller is Jen Giraffe, her MMR is higher or lower than it should
That means
be.
less than 1K.
Lower than it should be, in my opinion. And she's been doing some awesome stuff for the in-houses starting last Wednesday. Jen, what is your question?
Hello there. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, so my question is a little bit more broad this time around, just because I'm pretty new to DotP and Dota in general. I kind of just got into the esports scene, so my question is more into that. What do you guys think of esports as being considered a professional sport nowadays? You know, with all the money involved and something like a TI prize pool, do you see the industry rising up in the society and in the future, or kind of more falling away as it grows?
Can I raise my hand?
Yeah, go for it, Roland.
Okay. So put yourself in the shoes of Kiev, for instance. Kiev was the last real big tournament we had. Okay, good, like real good production, real good stuff going on there. It looked good. Okay, and you're flipping through channels, Jen. You're just flipping through channels. You know nothing of esports, and you land on Kiev during a game. You're going to be like, "What in the hell is this?" It's ESPN2 or something like that. Oh my god, Ben, it shows the prize pool and you're like, I cannot believe this whatever that I'm watching. The prize pool is 3 million. But say you happen to be scrolling through the Kiev Major right when it's finishing, for instance, when they did the women of Kiev or whatever.
I don't think this is the question. Is about Roland.
No. This
Oh
is.
my
This
God.
absolutely is. Ursi, this absolutely
This
is.
is not what the question's about at all.
Yes, it is. With where we're going, we are not aiming ourselves in a professional direction. I will say the same with Mischief at the Major. If I were tuning through the TV and I'm on Kiev and I happen to land on Mischief at the Major, I'm thinking like this is years away from being a professional thing. Because it's just, I mean, I watched my first basketball game recently, the Warriors versus the Cavs, this last Friday or Saturday. I can't remember when it was, Friday or Saturday night. And I was specifically watching with the way they did things, and it was all about the game. And right now with Dota, it's not all about the game. It's like 80% about the game and 20% about let's be funny. And it's not gonna. I don't think we have a good model in Dota for it to grow to be as professional as I want it to be.
Okay. I'm going to change gears because I
What
think
is that?
all right,
That's
so,
not an acceptable answer.
I mean, that's just about a different topic. Right? Professionalism in esports is very different than esports becoming a professional sport. I think like they are kind of
That
one of the
is
same.
professional. It's a lack
That is
of
an
professionalism.
aspect. That is an aspect to becoming a professional sport. But people do stupid memey things in professional sports too. Like you know how
Examples.
in baseball they have like the races around the diamond? Like that's just like a fun memey skit that they do in between innings in like the 7th inning stretch. Right? Like they have gimmicky stunts like that. That's why they have like the
But are
like,
the memey
the-
gimmicky people more popular than and more get? Never mind.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but also their audience is older anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
But as far as esports becoming more professional, I think gradually they are, right? We see more involvement from big companies, just in general, not specifically in Dota, because Dota has some weird idiosyncrasies that don't
Dota
make
doesn't
it
attract
as
the big ones.
well, Dota, like there's too much money for players in Dota, so you don't need sponsors, so therefore sponsors are not incentivized to get in, whereas
That's not the
sponsors can get
reason.
into a game. That is a large part of the reason, Roland.
You just scolded me like my parents would,
I did
dude.
because you're wrong.
No,
I don't want you
I'm
disseminating
not
incorrect
necessarily
information.
wrong.
Okay, all right. So when the guy that owns Cloud9, who has an incredibly what's it called, high net worth company that sponsors games in every or teams in every esport that's not Dota practically, says publicly that Dota is not profitable to run a tournament in because teams did not want to sign with him because they don't want a salary because they can make an absurd amount of money from tournament winnings. That's how Dota works compared to a game like League or a game like Han or a game like CSGO or whatever, where you can have more professional sponsors. Anyway, tournament-wise, I think as prize pools grow and as more people get into esports, whether it's Dota or whether it's League or whether it's, whatever new game comes out after E3, that kind of thing is only going to grow, and there may be hiccups here and there, but I think esports in general as a genre, not even specifically Dota, is here to stay and is only going to get more professional. And also TV is like, TV is in the past, right? We don't need to be on ESPN2. We are fine being elsewhere, right? The people that watch ESPN2 are not as attracted to a video game just per their demographics, right? So we need to focus on growing naturally through the internet, since that's the basis of the entirety of the ecosystem, right? We don't need to worry about like getting on Fox News or Fox Sports or CNN or whatever, and then being like, oh boy, $20 million in Dota for this game that like we can't decipher because we're old and like we're not their market.
I can't decipher it, and I'm not old. And I've been playing it for 3 years, so
You're an aspiring old person.
I mean, the game's hard as fuck, and like, it's impossible to explain. Like, try and explain Dota in a minute, but I know that's a complete tangent.
Yeah.
Jen, what do you
I
think?
could try.
I think I side with Ursinity here. Maybe I argue in that the reason that they have all these meme stuff going on is because the demographic enjoys the meme stuff. I mean,
That's fair.
I wouldn't see like my dad enjoying something like a slacks in a basketball game, but I mean, on our side, I
We do
definitely
enjoy
think
it.
like we enjoy it.
Mhm.
So
Debatably.
That's
debatably.
that's a really good point. I guess I guess I'm like tainted by like my old soul or whatever you want to call it, that I'm like, it should be professional, people should have suits, people should be wearing, bow ties, and there should be
Yeah.
no fun. It's not fun,
Well,
it's competition. And
that's not a fringe opinion though. Like a lot of people hold that
a lot
for
of
different
people,
reasons.
for sure. I mean, there is a reason that, mischief at the major, and I just use that for example, as in like, if I were this, like my dad, for instance, and he's tuning through, I think he would stop for 5 minutes and watch it if Dota was on, and try and be like, what the hell is this? But if Mischief at the Major was on, that's just, you're getting flipped. Not that Mischief at the Major is bad, it's just that's not going to attract him.
Yeah.
And
you'd also have commercials instead of that, probably. Let's be honest.
or something. I mean, maybe Mischief at the Major would play because the computers are getting set up, and there's a lot of, with basketball, like you just turn on the cameras and like bounce a basketball around, and like the court never breaks. You know what I mean? Like in Dota, the court can break. You know what I mean? And if it does, there's going to be some delays.
You can have a 30-minute pause or whatever.
Yeah. So like, I completely understand. I feel like, yes, our demographic from that point of view, enjoys. I mean, there's a reason Sir Action Slacks is as popular as he is, or any of the other characters that were involved with Mischief at the Major. And it's not that I didn't laugh out loud and enjoy them as well. I'm just saying that if we want to go like NBA professional, I don't know if that's the way, is what I'm getting at. If we, and definitely, some other things that were questionable about Kiev. But for the most part, like every panel that I've seen, whether that be like, TI panels that I've been to, but seen, like TI5, TI6, any of the majors, they're very professional. Like, there's nothing I can say about any panel that I've seen that would be like, look at this tomfoolery. Like, they're all dressed nicely. They're all talking about the game analytically. I guess the only real tomfoolery I've ever seen on a panel would be Too Good, and I thought it was hilarious, personally. I thought it was hilarious, but I can see how it was over the line and that he's an ass.
Well, I mean, Dream League panels are not necessarily professional. I mean, like professionalism in panel work it varies greatly, and that's all kind of one of the main arguments against it. And this is kind of like a weird tangent to get on, but one of the big problems a lot of people have it that you'll hear about, like a good friend of the show, Scrunk, he has voiced this on many occasions, is some people don't want to hear a bunch of people, sitting around joking. They want to hear like, oh wow, an amazing game just got played. They want to hear deep analysis. So when your panel is like 4 random 4K players or whatever, or 4K casters, no offense, that's actually a really bad thing to bring up. 4 random casters that are not prepared to do deep analytical work, that's a bad thing for that audience that is deeply involved in the game. Whereas if you have a panel that's like the one for whatever a recent major was, it had Owie and Theban or Rose or 1437, whatever you're gonna call him.
Yeah,
and
then
then
a lot of names.
like Merlini and Red Eye or something. And it was like perfect, right? Because they have deep analytical side.
Well,
Dota.
Well, what's great about it is you have Paul Shallen or Red Eye or whatever, who he's really good. Like, he doesn't pretend to know a ton about Dota, that's what I really like about the guy, is that he's not like, wow, that Ember Spirit, like, what a garbage Ember Spirit that game was. Like, he's more there to invoke, responses out of the good players. And that's why I love it when I hear from Merlini and when I hear from Synderen and when I hear from Capitalist, even some of the players that are 4K. You got to realize that analytical work doesn't mean mechanical skill in the game. Like,
I know, that's why I recanted that clarification,
and that's fine. And a lot of people feel that way. I mean, I read Reddit. Lyrical, for instance. Yeah, he's probably not 6K, but you know what? I've seen how much work he does before he goes to a tournament, and I'm going to go ahead and say that he doesn't need to be 6K to know that, like, I know everything about LGDFY, and I can tell you that they're going to pick this. Like, that's analysis still. So,
I agree. That's why, again, I just said that out of gut instinct.
Sometimes when people say things out of gut instinct,
for my transgressions.
Sometimes when people say things out of gut instinct, they get fucking got for a while. Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna get got. All right, I got myself.
You're gonna get got. I'll tell you that much.
I hope not. For your sake, you better hope I don't get got.
For my sake.
Yeah, dude, what would you do on this show?
Just kick you and find somebody who isn't as cocky and is better.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
Can we get Proud in here, please? No. Is Proud around?
No, he's not.
I'm just joking. Jen, what about those points that we bring up? What do you have to say on that?
I don't know. I feel like you guys brought up some really good points. I also want to bring up something like, watching Beyond the Summit. I really enjoy watching Beyond the Summit because of its casualty and how casual it is, and watching the players kind of be not in a professional way. I mean, seeing guys that, they're just guys playing video games. I think it's like, quote unquote, like the new meta in real life, where maybe Dota doesn't need to be professional. I mean, at the end of the day, it's teenagers playing video games. So.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you from our demographics, it's not necessarily teenagers. It's widely like 20 or older, I would say. What do you do for a living, Jen?
I am an IT specialist.
You're an IT specialist. Okay, so I'm gonna guess you're in your 20s.
I am.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I do agree that it is fun to see them casual, but I don't know what I'm getting at here.
You just asked two questions.
I know. My question
relation whatsoever.
I was wondering.
I was like, I thought you were gonna like lead into be like, all right, like clearly working 20-something adults listen to podcasts. Podcast demographics generally skew older.
They do skew older. I was wondering maybe if you were under 20 and that maybe that's why you enjoyed it. I do too enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe it's that our generation is just different. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We don't move out from our parents' house till we're like 30. How old are you, Ursi? I don't know. You still haven't moved out from your parents' house.
I'm turning 23
so
in like a week.
You're way old for living with your parents. So like, yeah, we're kind of in arrested development. You know what I mean? Look at Ursi. So
boy. This question has taken so many twists and turns.
I would agree. I would have argued that this generation maybe grew up a little bit faster.
Yeah,
like I moved out when I was 17, and maybe the lack of professionalism in Dota is kind of what was attracted me.
Yeah, no, it's kind of airy. It's nice, right? Like it's not. It doesn't have to be so serious.
It's free.
Like, fuck having to deal with all this seriousness all the time. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Good points, Jen. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
How much do you hate me, RC?
Oh, I like you, Roland. I feel like you need to rein me in sometimes, and I need to rein you in sometimes. You make like these. I think we all get to it. Like I make bad metaphors all the time that like need to be brought in by Proud or you or whatever. Mm-hmm. But sometimes like you make these grandiose, like ideological or not ideological. You have these.
They're a little bit ideological.
Yeah. You have these ideas for where a conversation is going to go, or for where like a series of comments by you are going to go, and like you have like a introduction and like if you're writing an essay, you have an introduction and a conclusion written, and both are really good, but the bodies are a little muddled.
You're just like, well, but so long as the conclusion's good, I mean, who cares about the body, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do a read with our mouth.
Okay, all right, that then. Let's see. From Mr. Blue. It's a little old question. It's about Kiev, but still, it's important. Any thoughts on the influx of Spectre picks during the Kiev major? The heroes seem to be forgotten and works well with these split push / pickoff lineups some teams favor. So Spectre, not only in that major, but still continues to be a strong hero, both in pubs. And I believe her pro win rate is great. Honestly, like, I'm not the pro guy for obvious reasons.
She's above 50%. So
yeah. In pros, though?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. Like, in the basic idea of you want to pick a Spectre when you do have these lineups that make her space, right? When you have a split push or a pickup lineup, you are effectively creating a lot of space for your Spectre to get to that point where he or she is very strong. And that is a big boon to any Spectre draft, right? That's why you pick Spectre in a lot of times. Or you don't pick Spectre because you say, oh, well, we need a late game. Because, yeah, sure, she late games, but not if she gets wrecked in lane because you guys have like a weak off lane and they're just aggro against you. So that's why they picked Spectre in those kind of situations, regardless of the patch. Like any Spectre draft, you will see that as a recurring theme, is that you have things to create space for, right? You have a not so greedy mid laner, you have a mid laner that fights a lot, or an off laner that fights a lot, or supports that can make space and push, etc.
For sure.
That's
yeah,
it.
I don't really have much to add. I feel like I don't know, like when I watch pro Dota and I see heroes, I should do this, but I don't do this, which is I don't try and think, why did they put those 5 heroes together?
You should do that.
I should do that because usually I'm like, Spectre, cool, I love that hero. I don't think like they're picking the Spectre for a very specific reason. I'm just like, I'm just gonna put popcorn in my mouth and watch. Which I should take a more analytical approach to watching Pro Dota.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't do that.
I don't know. I
gain a lot.
I probably would. If
I don't even need to watch the games.
Yeah, you can just look at the drafts.
That's all I do. I don't watch Pro Dota.
I know. I saw your app way back in 2015 at ESL1 New York. You have this like app that showed you like all the results of like, because there's a shitload of tournaments going on.
I don't use that anymore. But I just use Dota Buff. But
it was cool, but that was a cool phone app that you had. And it was, to be able to just like look at a draft and be like, I bet they win, show results. Oh my gosh, they did win because the synergy. You know what I mean? But I digress. Our next caller is Minger. I believe that's how it is pronounced.
Minger.
His MMR is 4775. And he has a question for us both. Minger, what is your question?
Okay, I'm not muted. So my question was with a lot of the support heroes getting slower and slower, I've been kind of toying around with the idea of doing a roaming for Gyrocopter with either boots or windlace first.
That's cool.
And,
that's way cool.
Just being the terrible person that like maxes out the homing missile or the usual rockets.
Yeah,
what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I first and foremost, that is fucking cool, dude. Because Proud and I were talking about that last night because he just got buffed again, Gyro in 7.06D, his move speed, like by 5, I want to say, or maybe it was a talent that got buffed. Maybe it wasn't his direct move speed. Maybe it was a talent.
I'm looking at it.
I know that Gyro got a move speed increase. I think
move speed increased by 5, just overall.
So he's a little faster.
325.
That's really
lot
fast.
Of move speed. That's like double CM.
Yeah, you start with boots, and I love the idea of the roaming Gyro. I feel like that's a great, because just like we were talking earlier on this show, ideally you have that support, and then you have that, that 4 that eventually becomes a pain in the ass to deal with later on in the game. Well, that's a roaming Gyro. It starts out, it reminds me of kind of like a roaming Kunkka, you know what I mean? Where later on it can become something, but early on you're just kind of chasing people down and rocketing them with your, I'm guessing you're leveling Q.
Yeah, it'd be like Q level 1 and then homing and then figure it out from there. But I haven't actually tried it yet. Every one of my like pubs has been like, don't even think about it. So I'm just picking Jakiro instead.
Yeah. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It's sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I've actually played against this and with this a number of times because it's been one of these like weird niche supports that people want to try, kind of like you're saying. And I will say, it is one of the most annoying things I've ever had to play against in a mid lane. Was I've probably talked about this on a show before because it's so rage inducing. But you're trying to play a 1v1 matchup. Gyro is sitting on the sidelines with his absurd range, throwing rockets at you. And when I've played against it, they have not gone movement speed first. They've just bought a bunch of clarities, and they literally just get level 1 rocket, and they sit, and then they throw like 3 or 4 rockets at you mid. You have your first few waves lost effectively, so the other enemy laner has an incredible advantage. The Gyro doesn't soak any XP because his range is so long with rocket. And then the mid lane is super easy for his teammate, and then the Gyro goes and gets lane support and farms lane, or not farms lane, but he gets lane XP, etc., and zones the offlaner, etc. And so it basically wins your mid lane for you through that early aggression, and then you rotate and do normal support things, and then you transition into a more useful hero overall. You don't usually, I've not seen it transition into a core. Generally, they transition into being one of these like utility supports that, like, he has solar crest and he has all kinds of things.
Okay.
But the issue with it, and I'm glad you made the comparison to Kunkka as a more common roaming 4. The interaction with roaming 4 Gyrocopter, or even roaming 5 Gyrocopter, whatever role you put it in, is that it does not provide you kill potential, because rocket as a mechanic is meant to chase people down, which means they're, especially in the early game, they're going to be running all the way back to tower and be safe, right? Rocket, if it moved way faster, would be good, but the problem is that if you're trying to aggress on mid, a hero like Earthshaker is going to aggress on mid, stun them for a long time, and then your mid laner sets up and you get the kill, right? Gyrocopter comes in and he's fast enough to run with rocket barrage, sure, but then you deal damage but don't kill the person because you're not going to deal enough damage. Or your alternative is that you throw a rocket at them, and unless you like do some cheeky thing where you smoke behind, like let's say you're aggressing on Dire mid lane, right? You smoke, you go behind Dire mid lane, like behind the tower range. You throw your rocket there. The rocket's coming downwards. They're forced to run either into the river, which makes them vulnerable, or they run into your mid laner in that case. And also they're slow, and so they're more likely to hit by rocket faster because they don't have boots yet. That's like maybe a cheeky thing you could do positionally, which might be nice, but overall it's just not going to get kills. It's just only good for zoning, like a mid laner or an off laner. So I don't think it's terrible. I think it's like an interesting little cheeky thing, but I think there are some significant holes in his playstyle that do not do what other 4s do. Like every other 4 sets up kills, right? We think of any 4 in the game, they set up kills. Gyrocopter doesn't really set up kills. He just annoys people to death. Except, not really to death. He just annoys people until they run back to base. Great for winning lanes, bad for winning kills.
I don't know. I think you should do it, dude. It sounds really fun. Do it in a normal match. Go that route and see how it goes. Because I could see, with the right item combo, like what if you did like Tranquil Windlace? You know what I mean? And you weren't even
you get a 4-staff for your rockets. You actually have kill potential.
Can you? Well, I'm talking like you don't even right click them. All you do is chase them with your Q, and you would just be right up on them. You know what I mean?
But so what you would do is that you'd put a rocket. You can 4-staff rockets, by the way. Mm-hmm. You get you have Tranquil's Windlace 4-staff and like a wand probably, and let's just say you have only that. You spawn the rocket, and then you 4-staff the rocket forward at them so that they actually get hit by it before they run significantly far away. And then you just walk at them with rocket barrage, and then hopefully your other whatever cores around can get kills. That's cool. Just like you don't have kill potential with it. Like a Kunkka is going to keep you locked down, and Earthshake is going to keep you locked down. But the Gyro, his stun takes so long to be effective and deal damage and all that. It just it doesn't give you kill potential. So that's my primary concern with it.
Yeah, I mean I think you're right, but it would still be fun to see. Minger, anything you like to add?
Yeah, not really. I haven't really played him too much since his old Aghanims before they changed that.
Mm-hmm. I loved his old Ags, by the way.
When I used to get that as like a 4 position, and I would just be like, well, you're trying to push, and there goes your creep wave.
I got it as a 1, and I won games off it, and nobody believes me, but man, it's so good.
That was where you could put his ult anywhere, yeah? His old Ags. So now his new Ags is a sidecar, right?
Yeah, which apparently is okay, but I don't believe that. Because it can trigger your like Maelstrom and stuff like that, which is nice. But Yeah, I don't believe in it. I like global abilities, so it's really cool to have global ult, and it gives you more damage on your ult, I think, or maybe that it used to and now it doesn't. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember discovering the old gyro ags and being like, wait, I can call down 2 missiles anywhere
Yeah.
on this map, and it's
It
like,
was
yeah,
terrible.
it's like that is awesome, and it wasn't.
Yeah, everybody said it was terrible, but I believed in it. I was a believer.
Yeah, me
I
too.
remain a believer, and I remain disappointed that it's gone.
Minger, hey, thank you so much for your call.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, well, before we close out this show, let's take our final caller. It is Kuma Mizu. He is climbing. He's at 2K. He's got what looks to be a personal question. Kuma, what is your personal non-Dota question?
Well, I would just like to know if you guys could live anywhere, where would it be? Whether that's a place you used to live or somewhere you imagine would be nice. And Ursi, South Korea, obviously, but where?
I wouldn't. Okay, I wouldn't live in a foreign country. First of all, I am not a traveler. I've very little to no interest in traveling. I mean, we're all like, I'm a Dota player, dude. Like, I'm a homebody. Like, I like relaxing at home. My ideal vacation is like going into like some mountain in Montana that magically has good internet and relaxing, or something like that. Like, I don't want to be around like a ton of people busy if I'm vacationing or whatever. If I had to live in my ideal place, I'd probably live pretty close to where I live now, but I live in like a richer area than I do. Like, I'd get a house with like all the rich people instead of being like where I live with all the regular people. So that'd be my answer. Like, I'd live in some generic like fancy rich people suburb that has access to good food, and that I mean that's really my only priority. I'm not like, such a boring question for me, like, because I'm just not an interesting person.
Man, I was hoping
like I
you'd
wouldn't,
have
I
an
wouldn't be like, oh,
interesting
I'm gonna move to
question.
the south of France and be fancy. Like, no, I don't want to learn a new language. I don't want to do stuff like, if I wanted to move like that, I would. But I don't, I just want to live where I want to live.
Gosh, Kuma, you couldn't have asked the question that it's not going to get interesting questions. Maybe you'll have an interesting answer. I love where I live. I don't want to move. If it's not an if, it's a matter of when. I will have a second residence in Seattle, but I would never want to leave Ogden, Utah. I love it here. I really do.
Seattle would be nice.
So
But
like,
Seattle's too busy. I don't want to do. I don't want to deal with like busy stuff.
I don't know if I'd want to live in the city. Although I think that would be fun. I wouldn't want to do it all the time. So like, ideally, I would have, a property in the city of Seattle, and right where I am now. My wife is constantly wanting to move from where we currently live because it's too small, which it totally isn't. We have a whole downstairs that is literally vacant. It's just like there's just furniture down there that I feel bad for because nobody ever uses it. Like, the poor furniture, dude. It's like, no. I love where I currently live. It's pretty amazing to wake up and not be able to like see above the mountains because they're so high. And to, it's a beautiful place that I live. The summers are great. The fall is great. The winters are a little rough, which that's when I'd be going to Seattle. Is during the winter. What about you, Kuma?
Well, Ursi brought up a good point. I would actually want to try out a foreign country. Like France, I've been taking it for as long as I can remember. So I could survive off of it, definitely. But I'm not sure how the culture would be really different. And like the way they do meals there is every like employer or company just like shuts down for a few hours. Everyone eats being a waiter is like really honorable there. It's just so interesting to hear about all these different cultures around the world and all that. I'd love to try it out at least. Maybe stay if it's interesting, or maybe come back to America and eat whenever I want and not feel like I'm dishonoring anybody by eating microwavable food.
Yeah, I'd be down to try it, but I like where I live. I live in a nice area. I'm very lucky. I want to continue that.
Same. Like, I honestly have never like had this like wanderlust of being like, oh God, it would be so much better anywhere but here. Like, no,
Yeah.
like, this is, even if I were to like say I get this like killer job where it's like, we're gonna pay you 10 trillion a year to do nothing in South Dakota. Like, I'm gonna take it, obviously, but the second
Not be happy.
the second I retire, or the second I can like work for 1 year and quit or something like that, I would move immediately back here.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I was raised here. I mean, it's honestly a pretty damn good place to live, except on Sundays. That's the only thing, except on Sundays, because
I
everything
managed
shuts
to.
down.
Sorry. Go
Oh,
on.
sorry, Kuma, go ahead.
I managed to luck out because when I was young, I did have to move, but I was so worried I'd like leave all my friends behind and all that. And I was really too young to realize exactly why I had to go because the house was too big and all that. Had to buy a smaller house, but luckily there was one that fit our bill exactly, like a mile and a half away. So I didn't like lose any friends at all, and I love the area I'm in.
Nice.
Massachusetts is beautiful. I love it so much.
Oh yeah, I like
And
Massachusetts.
snow's great. Summer's not too bad. Water keeps the temperature just fine. We're like 20 to 15 degrees cooler than Boston at all times, and 15 to 20 degrees warmer in the winter. So it's beautiful.
I'm jealous. Not really, actually. I like where I live, but Massachusetts is very nice. I've been there often.
Mm.
Yeah, you talk about any place in the West, and I'm like, I've been there often, but anywhere in the Northeast, nope. Okay, Ursi, and Kuma, thank you so much for calling in. Sorry that our answers are so bland and boring.
Yeah, really.
Hold on, we'll pull Sivas in here. Sivas, can I unmute him? I don't think I can. Sivas.
No, he is an admin privilege just like you.
Okay, we'll give him like he should be. Let's see if he has some like I live on the peninsula of Croatia, where the clams swim up.
I'm here.
Okay, what's your answer to this?
I'd want to try somewhere foreign. I mean, like if I'm no money, no issue, whatever. I'd do something like Europe for sure.
Where?
France, Italy.
Dude, you're not gonna
somewhere
fit
that would
in
force
there.
me to learn.
Come on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the point: is to go and culture shock yourself. A little
Okay.
bit.
All right. Money's not an issue,
Sounds
Denny.
exhausting.
Money's not an issue. Go ahead. I'll back you. Go live anywhere you want in Europe. I'll back it all, dude. Where are you going?
Either Spain or Italy.
Okay.
Either Spain or Italy.
All right, we'll see you in Spain, dude. We'll get your bags packed. All right.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd force me to learn Spanish. You know, I feel like I've got a decent base, so you know, to dive in, it'd be nice. But no, I mean, more realistically, I'm with you. I'd like to. After our few trips up to Seattle, the Pacific Northwest is just so beautiful.
Yeah, the
It's
way I
hard to-
envision it is .p office opens up in Utah, second .p office opens up in Seattle. And yeah, that's how I'd like it.
Maybe the primary office up in Seattle.
Yeah, well, first we got to get, the office
It's
established
always
here.
77.
I know.
Seattle.
I check it on my phone now too.
I know. I mean,
God, are you kidding?
Yeah, well, I have
it's
Seattle on
always-
my phone. And I
Oh
look
my
at the
god,
weather
that's the most
there.
like freaking midlife crisis thing I've ever heard in my entire life. You check
Oh,
this,
well.
you check the weather in a different
Midlife
place you
crisis.
don't live in every day.
Yes.
Midlife
Every
crisis.
Oh
day.
my god.
What is your midlife crisis is just going to be being a normal person. That's what your midlife crisis will
I
be,
know.
Ursi. Like you'll be like, I don't want to watch K-pop anymore. I don't want to drink any of this. And that's your midlife crisis, okay? So don't give us
Yeah,
shit about
God.
midlife crises, okay?
You guys,
Yeah.
you guys, such jokers.
All right.
Such
Well-
ridiculous people that I work with.
Enjoy it until it's creepy. Enjoy it.
Yeah, until you're like
Oh
32.
my god, everything is
And
circular.
you're teaching middle schoolers, and you're going home and watching middle schoolers dance that are in South Korea.
That's
dude.
not how that works. You
Yes, that is how that
savages with
works,
Your
dude.
perverted, weird
No,
minds
that's how
from
it is.
Utah, because you're all repressed.
Live long enough to be a creep, dude. Live long enough to be a
No.
creep. That's what's gonna happen to
Freaking
you, dude.
Savages.
Yeah, it's not
Good
savage. It's
Lord.
true. Dude.
All right.
All
Go to
right.
church.
Kuma,
Jesus Christ.
thank you so much for your call. I'm
Keep
glad
Kuma
Denny had some
igniting
like
this argument.
romantic answer to that. Because I definitely don't. I like my Chick-fil-A to be nice and close and warm. So we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya. All right. Ursi, I think it's about time we close this one down.
I think so too.
Okay. So.
Oh, you want me to do it,
Yes,
right?
please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All right, so we have a event every Wednesday, which should be the Wednesday after you're listening to this on Tuesday, at 9 p.m. Eastern. We host in-houses. They're very fun. We host 3 lobbies every time. There's a sub 3K lobby. There's a 3K plus lobby. There's another overflow lobby that's usually sub 3K. And those are hosted by Grouty and a whole host of other people. Every lobby is casted. We always feature at least one lobby running at any given time on the stream, twitch.tv/.ptv. Come hang out. There's always
It's fun.
There's
It's
always
totally
room, I want to
fun.
say.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
And you
Proud
and
and I
Proud
usually
always
cast
cast
the first
game one.
series.
Yeah, you and Proud. You've got
it's very fun. So highly recommend. Highly recommend. Come to that. You can also catch us on Twitter. Our show is at DotP_show. I am at Ursinity on Twitter. Our Discord is discord.gg/.p. You can get in with the community there. Ask us questions at defensepations@gmail.com, or you can call in at Mondays at 9 Eastern if you want to do like any of our what's a good word? Any of our glorious callers from today. What's a better word than glorious? Any of our magnificent, perfect callers today did. We are always filling new callers. You can also, like I said, write in questions. What else? What else we do? Patreon.com/defensepations. That's where you can support us monetarily, and it helps us tremendously. We appreciate all your support. I was gonna say we support all your support, which I suppose we do that also. Get all kinds of things there, and it's very fun.
Yeah,
we probably have other plugs, but I'm not gonna do them. Am I? What did I miss?
We're good. We're good. We did enough. We got like
all right.
We got like 3 out of 9. We're good.
I figure if we get like 3 out of 9, 5 times a week, eventually over the course of a week, we will have all of them done. Right?
I agree. So
that's it. You can close.
You have questions, and we have Ursi still creepily watching K-pop. Ooh,
this is terrible. You people just don't know.
Oh, and he's gonna be a middle school teacher. Oh
my god.